how are you feeling about RJ right now on the whole?
I feel like it's at equilibrium. Again, you had some really not good games, bad games beforehand, and then he seems to rebound. He's showing mid-range. He's showing his size, his strength. Yes, the wiggle, you'd like that to be a little bit better. You want him to be craftier, but you can see that he's still thinking. I mean, the fact that he's able to pick up 11 rebounds, it doesn't seem that astonishing to me because it seems that he's always collecting 7, 8, 9 rebounds. He has a nose for the ball. He sees players constantly. I think there was it might have been the Cavs game where there was a play he could have easily gone to the hoop and he just dished it perfectly to, I want to say it was Noel, but I can't remember exactly which big it was, but it was that sort of thinking where he's not going to plow right into a guy, sort of like what we saw from Randall last year, where he just wasn't going to be consistent. And then we saw it from, ironically enough, Elfrid Payton today, where there was like a 3-on-2 opportunity after the steal. And Payton just kind of took it to the hoop and made a terrible layup. RJ managed to get the rebound and was fouled and went to the line. That's what you don't want to see. But the fact that, again, RJ is able to use his size and his strength to be bigger, it seems to me that the conversation with RJ frequently is about his ceiling. But again, like he's showing enough where he's like, I'm just looking at the floor right now and everything else is kind of gravy from there. And he's showing the makings of a very, very good player from the floor, at least. I mean, the shot looks more improved. I feel bad for Drew Hanlon, who got he just got a ton of shit from people because RJ's game was not doing well. That sort of thing where I know that the numbers also may seem a little different because he did take 11 attempts. He had 19 points, which again is still great. But there's a point earlier where he was at least after the first half where he was just firing on all cylinders and it looked beautiful to see. So again, these are the types of games that feel encouraging. They kind of cover for the ones that feel less encouraging, and then the discouraging games get covered by these. So it's this endless back and forth that you kind of have to evaluate later. So as of right now, I see a player who, and I think that at least one of the 2 threes he hit was a wide open corner, which, I mean, again, if there's times where he's not hitting that shot.
But that's fine.
Right. It's
like there's 2 steps in the NBA. There's hit your open ones when you have time so that eventually people will guard you. And then once people start guarding you, that's it. You've beaten level 1. Level 2 is off the dribble, fancy stuff. No. If we never get there with RJ, that's fine. He could still be the type of player that you just said, right?
Right. Yeah. And, at the end of the Cavs game, it was disappointing because first of all, Drummond absolutely kicked that ball. It was disappointing. There were some mental mistakes that RJ made too, but it wasn't totally on him too. I mean, Tibbs even said to Mitch, foul Drummond, I believe, which was a mistake in my opinion, because it just seemed like you have enough time where you can force them to miss a shot and then it's a 1-possession game. But those are the types of games where you grow from them. You learn from the mistakes that you're made. You're not going to go under your legs or dribble it under your legs to try to create some separation. You're going to maybe not be quite as crafty, and that's okay. Take these games and use them to learn, because if they're losses, then okay, it's like the higher draft odds most likely. And if they're wins, then that feels good too.
I'm going to be a broken record again. It is we ask the question, what is the point of this season? Yes, wins are very important. And would it have been nice to get that Cleveland win, right? Yes, it would have, because then now theoretically maybe we'd be sitting at 7-7, and boy, would that feel good. But at the same time, you don't know whether RJ Barrett could have pulled out that game unless you give him the opportunity to try to pull out that game. And that is an investment, win or lose, you're willing to make. I want to say 3 really quick things about RJ, and then we'll talk about the trade. First thing, would you like to guess how many players in the NBA this season are averaging 16 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists over these numbers? At least 16 points, at least 7 rebounds, at least 3 assists, at least 3 free throws made, and under 2 turnovers made. How many total players?
Under 2 turnovers. Wow, that's definitely going to weed a lot of guys out.
Yep.
I'm going to say,
if I didn't give you the turnover part, it would have been about a dozen guys, all of which have made an all-star team, with the exception of one Julius Randle, who's probably going to make an all-star team this year. But we're doing it with the under 2 turnovers.
Okay, because I would have said 8 if there had been the under 2, but now if it was a dozen before that, I'm going to say it's 4.
It is 2. One of them is Mr. Barrett. The other one is Anthony Davis. So not terrible company there.
For Anthony Davis, of course.
What?
For Anthony Davis, of course.
The second thing I'm going to say about RJ Barrett, he is currently, as I sit here and record this, 229th among, how many players is this? 465 NBA players this season in free throw percentage at 73.9. Do you want to take a guess at who is one spot above him in 228th place?
Oh, God. I mean,
it's not Anthony Davis.
Okay. Yeah. Is it another Nick?
No, it's a player of some renown.
At 73.9%?
RJ is at 73.9%. This player is at 74.4.
All right. Sabonis.
No, a different light haired white guy, Luka Doncic. From Europe also. So you were close. And then the third thing
it's basically the same thing.
Same person, really.
Yeah.
The third thing I want to say is we saw RJ again today put a similar move like he tried to put on Drummond the other night on who was it? I forget actually who it was on, but it resulted in a turnover and a fast break. And I think I'm not trying to tell RJ Barrett to like accept being like some kind of a lesser player, but I think the sooner, and I've said sentiments of this ilk before, I think the sooner RJ Barrett maybe does a little bit better job of accepting his limitations in terms of like, look, you know, I might not be the headliner. I might just be the guy who's more like, that's why I always went all off season when I was thinking of comps for him of like what I'd be happy with, kept going back to Michael Finley, which is so weird because like Finley is a guy who not a Hall of Famer, but you know, made a couple all-star teams, was like an invaluable part to so many winning teams. And like occasionally that dude would actually go out and get his own bucket, but that was not his forte. And I just, if that's the type of career, I'm not saying exactly that type of player, but like that type of career that we got from RJ Barrett, I'd be thrilled. So yeah, no complaints.